Hello everyone, this is Nilesh here once again. In all programming languages, function is reusable block of statement. The same function can be called again and again, maybe with different arguments to do similar tasks repeatedly. In this video, we are going to discuss how Python functions are bit different than other programming languages. Python is not only an object-oriented and procedure-oriented language, but it is also a functional programming language. In functional programming languages, the functions are first-class citizens, meaning by functions can be used just like any other object. But what do you mean by functions can be used as any other objects? First thing, function can be assigned to any other variable just like any other object. We can declare function globally or locally inside any other function. We can pass function as an argument to other functions, and we can also return function from any other functions. Let us elaborate these points one by one with examples. The very first point is functions are treated as variables. When we declare any function, it can be assigned to another variable. Let me show you a quick example. In this example, greet is a simple function defined, and this greet function is assigned to say_hi variable. Please note there are no parentheses written after greet. And say hi, we can call the function with the argument. Let me run this application. Have you noted that we are calling the greet function by the name say_hi? How exactly this works? Let me explain you with the diagram. When we define a function greet, Python store it in some memory location. Let's say this memory location is 1000. Now, when we assign that greet function to another variable, so say_hi is a reference variable get created. This say_hi reference variable will store the address 1000 and in turn point to the actual function. Now we can use the same variable to actually call that function. You can confirm this thing by printing the function and its variable. Let me run it once again. Have you noted that in both the cases, it is referring to the same function greet and both are referring to the same memory location. Over here, this say_hi is called as a function alias. And this is very important, very powerful concept of Python. Now, functions not necessarily stored only into a variable, but just like any other objects, we can store them into data structures like list or dictionary. Let us go for second example. In this example, I have two functions defined, add function and subtract function. Operations is a list which stores addresses or references of two functions add and subtract. Now later, I can use a for each loop and call these functions one by one. I'm also printing the name of the function and the result of the function. As you might have guessed, when we run this program, so 5 plus 3, 8, and 5 minus 3 is 2. Both functions are executed. Let us now go to the next point. The next point is functions can be declared globally, top level, in a Python file, or they can also be declared locally inside other Python function. If a function declared it globally, which is the most common case, even in our previous demo, we have done the same way. The global functions will be accessible in the whole Python program. However, if the function is declared locally, then it is accessible only in the outer function, or you can say enclosing function. Let us take one simple example. In this example, I have one outer function, and inside outer function, one inner function is defined. Now, scope of this function is outer function. So this function can be by default called only from inner function. You can run the application and verify this. If you try to call the inner function from outside the outer function, it will give me error. You can check that, which is saying that inner function is not defined. However, though you cannot call the inner function directly from outside the function, you can return it from the outer function. And this is exactly our next point. The functions can be returned from another function. Let us take one more example for the same. In this function, we have create greeter as an outer function, and it defines a local function, inner function, greet. And this greet function is returned from the outer function. Now, this function returned is collected into a function alias say underscore hello, and I can use that say underscore hello to call the inner function greet. You can verify this. So our local functions, though not directly accessible from outside the function, we can return them from the function, collect it in a function alias, and then we can call them. Functions are not only returned from another function, but function can also be passed as an argument to the function. This is the fourth point of functions as first-class citizens. Now, this can be understood with one more small example. Here, I have defined a top-level function add and another function apply underscore operation. Please note, apply underscore operation function is called with 3 arguments. First 2 are integer, and third one is the name of a function, which is collected into operation variable. Now you must have understood that operation is just alias to the add function. And using that function alias, you will realize the operation function is called and its result is returned. You can run this particular program and confirm that output is addition called 5 plus 3 is equal to 8. Functions as a first-class citizens is a primary concept and is useful in many other high-level concepts in Python, closures, decorators, and understanding this concept properly, you can write more expressive, flexible, and reusable code. I hope you find this concept very useful. If you have any questions, feel free to ask it into the comments. If you find this session useful, please like the video, share it, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on LinkedIn for more technical stuff. Thank you very much.